though. Zombie apocalypse, that should not have happened. And I ain't gonna lie, I seen this shit yesterday and I was gonna fucking watch it on my own, but I was like, no, bro, let me say this shit for stream. Cause, I could talk about this shit all day, every day. As y'all know, I think I talked about this before a couple streams ago, like a month ago. If zombies existed, do y'all really realize like zombies are like the least threatening thing to mankind? Even if it was a huge zombie outbreak, motherfuckers start eating each other. Zombies are the least most threatening thing in mankind history. Like if we talk about zombies for like The Walking Dead, like zombies that do this them things are them niggas will literally be wiped out within seconds. The military could literally wipe them niggas out in seconds in real life. There's nothing scary about them niggas. That's it. Like it's so like if a zombie existed in real life, first of all, I wouldn't have to run. I wouldn't have to do none of that shit. Like them niggas have no shit because realistically, a zombie wouldn't have strength. They decaying, they dead, they stupid as fuck. Like they stupid as fuck, and like I wouldn't have to really do a lot of shit. You feel me? I'm just saying. Zombies are not a threat. Can't believe motherfuckers actually scared of zombies, but there's so many zombie apocalypse right that shouldn't have happened. But he's gonna tell us which ones that shouldn't have happened. Talk to me, my
In
nigga.
zombie media, the world of an apocalyptic scenario can make for an interesting narrative where the reanimated or
I gotta rewatch Walking
infected
Dead.
lurk around every corner of a dilapidated world.
Yo, you know what else I gotta watch? I gotta rewatch Walking Dead. I want to rewatch that. Demon Slayer, because the new season came out. I'm currently reading the manga right now. I'm just gonna read the fucking manga. I'm gonna read the whole thing. Jujutsu Kaisen, Death Note, Tokyo Ghoul. There's this new anime. I forgot. I gotta watch all that shit.
While the degradation of humanity strangles the life out of what remains. But most of the time, the way it even got to that point where society has crumbled, anarchy reigns, and the undead have won the war against the living is often skimmed over extremely quickly.
That's what I'm saying. Every zombie apocalypse movie, if you really look at it, they really don't explain how everything just happened. It kind of just like, oh, damn, here we go, zombie. Now I know what years later, oh my God, the world ended. You got survivors and this, that. It's like, because realistically, folks, that shit just wouldn't happen in real life. Them niggas would be wiped out within a day.
To get to the meat and potatoes, or given a hellaciously stupid reason as to how it even happened, and more so, how it overthrew the populace and armed forces that protect it. For the most part, zombies are a pretty bare-bones threat when it comes to what they are capable of, even if people turning into them could be widely different between scenarios. The fact that wiping out hordes of them is relatively easy for militaries and basic armed people begs the question, how the hell do they even stand a chance at not only overwhelming society at large, but permanently crippling it? Some stories give good or at least fair enough preludes and excuses to how their worlds were zombie dominated, ranging from a super spreader event that was beyond repair.
See, The Last of Us, they infected / zombies are fucking scary. Because them niggas are fucking comp. Them niggas are comp. Like, the affected, what the fuck is it called? The cordyceps virus. In The Last of Us, that shit comp. I do not want that shit in real life. Fuck that shit.
To overpowered corpses with relentless intent. But that's not what we are here to talk about. Some universes have no excuse for how stupid their response was to the initial outbreak and how it managed there on out. And we are bringing up the dumbest and strangest of the bunch in no particular order. Today, we are discussing zombie apocalypses that should not have happened.
They Army of the Dead.
Starting things off with the zombie multiverse from the mind of Zack Snyder himself, a military convoy transporting a biological hazard shipment across the Mojave Desert when suddenly a newlywed couple, not looking where they're driving, smashes into the oh-so-important cargo vehicle. The personnel apparently have no knowledge of what's inside. Slowly approaching, they see the critical package was an alpha zombie with super strength, high intelligence, and superb combat skills. It being able to wipe out the entire squad as it infects and bites everyone before they ascend over the nearby hill to see New Vegas. I mean, Las Vegas on the horizon. From there, all of Las Vegas is quickly swallowed up as we see a montage of chaos as normal people trying to celebrate in the City of Lights being taken into the dark by the undead. Now, it makes sense for the pandemic of undead to stay relatively contained within the confines of Vegas's city limits, considering it's just an expanse of endless desert in all direction, and zombies tend to want to stay where people are more likely to gather. But not only that, but the alpha zombies of this virus will also lead and direct the hordes so they are more coordinated. But even with all of this happening, with animals being able to be infected and alpha zombies teaching zombies how to work as a unit, and with them being completely walled in this Attack on Titan-like structure of New Vegas, all these zombies are literally fish in a glowing barrel. Societal standards and news cycles discuss how nuclear bombing is consistently delayed to human rights deliberations and government affairs dragging their feet. But something with this much potential of being a national pandemic, if even one infected were to get out, or utilizing the undead for biological warfare supersedes any moral restrictions, or even the alpha zombies that are known to be pretty damn smart figure out a way to breach containment or use the hordes to get over the wall World War Z style, you would not want to give these zombies time or other people outside the walls time to figure out something like this for it to happen. The US government and military were surprisingly able to get shipping containers to completely surround the 135-mile city area in a short amount of time, but slowed down on just annihilating what remains inside. It's like what I said earlier, they are fish in a barrel at this point. They can't get in or out. And don't get me started on how the original alpha zombie even broke free from its containment to get to Vegas to turn overnight. A military convoy would not be disrupted as vehemently as this over a sports car of two newlyweds going full speed into their transport car. You know,
that's what I'm saying. You tell me a sports car really did that shit to a fucking military truck? A sports car, folk, did that shit to a military truck, shorty? Come on, man. Like, hey, man, but you can't be mad. It's plot. So
I think military vehicles would be just a little more durable. And shouldn't the soldiers have some kind of inkling of what's inside? I get it, it's top secret, but this is something that cannot break free or get loose. I think that would have been stressed even if they didn't want the zombie thing to be known about. But still, when all hell breaks loose
it's plot,
and military strikes start happening to quell the zombie hordes of dead Vegas, they go from bombing the hell out of the city to dropping in paratroopers directly into visible hordes of hundreds of zombies? Why? And then we see a heist mission to breach into a casino to retrieve tons of money, and it's because of that one person escapes the city, finally being nuked, only to spread the virus as he flies away via jet, but not turning from his bite wound until much later. All of this could have been prevented. You have the resources. You know how deadly this zombie virus is because you were transporting it in the first place. They're acting like Mr. House has anti-missile defense systems to protect Las Vegas. If they would have just did what Fallout couldn't and nuke Las Vegas from the start, none of this would have happened in the first place. Plus, did we really have to make it into a time loop thing? Yeah, just look into the movie. There's apparently zombie robots too. I don't even know what to think, but this shouldn't have started.
What? The Walking fucking Dead. Now, people, listen. If you watch The Walking Dead, you know Walking Dead zombies make no fucking sense. I'll be sitting there and be like, certain characters should have just never fucking died, because realistically, these niggas wouldn't even fucking exist in real life. These niggas are stand no chance against army and they're... How the fuck did these zombies wipe out the fucking military? These weak ass fucking zombies doing this wiped out the fucking military. Listen, that either had to happen because these niggas are superhuman, or literally the military just let that shit happen like that. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know shit anymore. This shit just make me mad as hell, boy.
Okay, he's dead. Let's go get him. That's another one for the fire.
I'll be lumping these two.
Oh, this is the Dawn of the Dead. I thought you were talking about The Walking Dead, boy. This is the Dawn of the Dead. Walking Dead / Romero's
zombie
Living Dead.
apocalypses together since they are fundamentally the same.
Okay.
A virus that infects every living person on Earth, most likely via an airborne pathogen that reanimates any person upon death, so long as the brain is intact. Bites from the fully turned will spur a fever that kills a host just so they can become a zombie, aka walker. These zombies are probably the least threatening of anything we will deliberate over today.
Like, if this shit existed, folks, I'm sorry to keep all that, but if this shit existed in real life, I promise you, I would be like Superman in the zombie in the Walking Dead universe, because none of these niggas is touching me. I would not get bit once. Unless I don't give a fuck if there's horse. I'm just not allowed that shit to happen to me. These niggas are not overpowering me. They dumb as fuck. I don't have to run. I'll just be like, oh, okay, this is a zombie. Get the fuck off me, nigga. Get your bitch ass home.
They being for the most part slow, stiff, and dim-witted, albeit with tons of durability and longevity. They can go seemingly infinitely without rotting into a pile of biomass and bones, and can even adapt to their environments, learning as they roam the world to use tools, weapons, climb, and even work as a unit more so than just a mindless horde. A single bite from these Zeds means lights out if you can't amputate the affected area in time. But more so than that is everyone will eventually become a walker /
Yeah, because they all affected. So no matter, even if you survive right now, even if you die of old age, you gonna, become a walker or zombie.
Cool at some point without proper disposal methods taking place. But does it mandate the world consistently falling to ruin so quickly? The idea of anyone turning into an undead cannibal moments after their expiration date is terrifying in its own regard, don't get me wrong. And the first few days, weeks, months, and even years would be extremely difficult to come to terms with. Those that perish via means like terminal illness, roadway, workplace accidents, sudden complications, and even suicide could come back and seek to devour the living nearby, bearing witness to a loved one, a friend, or even a stranger coming back without any semblance of themselves besides their own visage would be a bitter pill that many would not be able to swallow. Chaos would be guaranteed within the first few days and weeks, but the reality would be quick to discern for many. Many would and continue to fall prey to someone dying, coming back and being bitten, either due to being in shock, being asleep, or being preoccupied before being bitten or eaten alive. But humanity would adapt to this new fact of life, I'm more than sure. Society would not crumble and dissolve to increasing numbers of the undead. If anything were to be the more realistic outcome of this kind of universe, even if it seems ridiculous for me to say, it would be the world as it is at the end of the movie Shaun of the Dead. Some parts of comedy are more biting parts of reality, and the aspect that zombies would just be integrated into everyday civilization is hysterically what would probably happen. Once the advent of a Z-Day were to calm down, with the army actually doing its job and wiping out the hordes of undead, unlike some series that just make the military out to be completely hopeless and idiotic.
Dumbass niggas like, oh my god, zombies, what we gonna do? You the fucking military. Oh, dumbass on what the fuck?
Large would see to establish, like some series that just make the military out to be completely hopeless and idiotic. Governments, militaries, and society at large would see to establishing methods for disposing any dead bodies, having emergency procedures for calls where supposedly someone has died or is dying, or precautionary methods at hospitals, hospice centers, ICU chambers, and more. Restraints on people would be mandatory in case they were to flatline suddenly, and every person would need to be instructed on how to destroy the brain. It would be an everyday part of life in case someone were to pass away, to prevent reanimation and for other people not to be infected by the fever. As dark and grim as this case is, it would be a part of reality that everyone would start to become accustomed to. Society might falter in the very beginning of the virus that infected all of humanity to be potential cannibalistic corpses, but we have a tendency to adapt and evolve to new ways of life, as extreme as it may seem. Plus, it's not like we are dealing with the undead corpses of Dawn of the Dead 2004 or Zombieland. No, these versions are slow and easy to take down. Ghouls and walkers do tend to have variations or smarter corpses that can run at times, or or learn to avoid fail-safes that humanity places on them, like fireworks, defensive perimeters, and more. But these variations rely on time, geographical locations, and or consistent outside stimuli to become those versions with no guarantee of them even deviating from the standard archetype. A majority of the undead will either be executed on sight, or, as The Walking Dead, Romero's Dead, and Shaun of the Dead have displayed respectively, they can have their jaws removed to be made docile, can be made to be friendly during extensive experimentation, or be made to do remedial labor and used for our entertainment, with all three being very likely as the zombie apocalypse becomes nothing more than just another footnote in human history.
That's fucked up. Cargo. What's this? Never heard about this movie or show.
Heading to the land down under, the rabid outbreak of 2019's Cargo, we see a dash of what I just discussed in a civilized post-zombie world, muddled up with nothing but irrational people making dumb decisions. They have these packages apparently widely distributed throughout Australia labeled Containment Assistance that's described as a guide to help prepare you and your family to recognize threats and make smart decisions in dangerous situations, noting the stages of infection and even providing a damn countdown watch that ticks away for 48 hours until the full turn time. Also in it are lethal injection pins to stab the temple to mercy kill anyone that is bit or infected. Obviously, a lot is known about this rabid virus that causes honey-like pus to spew out from every orifice. Even charts are fully shown where high infection areas are so you can avoid it. The world, or just Australia, easily figured out everything and provided measures for people. These zombies, or infected, are extremely slow and dim-witted, are easily distracted since just the smallest signs of blood can make them veer away from a full flesh and blood person without any issue. They go towards loud sounds, but barely make any kind of overall indomitable threat or presence, especially considering the fact that they avoid direct sunlight if they can, and will hibernate in dark places like tunnels, or burying their own heads in the sand, I guess to protect themselves from UV light and potentially helping survivors headshotting them while they're hibernating.
So they toot their asses up.
But these zombies spend half their time not even being active threats, and basically are just sitting ducks that add to their diminishing return on lethality. I mean, look at this. There is a guy yelling, goes up to this group of hibernating zombies, and loudly whacks numerous zombies in the head without even waking one of them up. They hunt purely based on smell and sometimes sound if they feel like it, and if one can mask their scent from anything appetizing to the infected, then one can move freely amongst them without fear of being attacked or bitten. And in some cases, the pus that produces from them can even fully blind them if it covers the entirety of their eyes. The seizures from the symptoms of the virus never going away as they just rapidly convulse as they move, slowing down their already sluggish pace.
Not to mention, I think the only way of the infection spreading is through a bite, because the honey pus didn't really transfer infection, and I don't think this is an airborne thing where no matter how you die, you turn. So yeah, avoiding getting bitten by these things seems incredibly easy. Or for them not, but in reality, yes.
Hell, indigenous tribes of Australia are able to basically turn the zombies into pets, mules, and more with barely any effort due to just a little blood and meat, something you can just find lying around in your body, or just at a market or out in the wilderness. That and all the tribes needed were pointed sticks and fire, and they easily wiped out a horde of these infected in minutes flat. Something people with guns and basic weaponry would easily be able to accomplish. A squad with a few guns could clean house, no question. The major threat that wiped out a continent can easily be deterred by just dangling chunks of meat in front of them to make sure no one gets bit. Now, I have to reiterate that a zombie will completely ignore a person or even a group of people purely for just a drop of blood on the wall or the ground or a scrap of flesh nearby and become...
Okay, so these niggas just slow as hell, boy. They just slow, like these niggas bad, so, okay. How is this? So how is this threatening in any way? How's this threatening?
Docile or way too distracted so they could just be easily killed from afar or even up close. And you can easily take them out as they are just that easy to kill. Honestly, this movie is a close contender for the dumbest zombie outbreak because how the hell would any of these things take over a city, let alone a continent? And it should not have even gotten as bad as it supposedly did. But nothing compares to what today's #1 pick is, purely for how botched people made it out to be, even though it's one of the deadliest infections in zombie lore history.
What are you afraid of?
Oh my God!
It won't come back.
What if it
It's
does?
If it comes
Idris. I think that's how you pronounce his name. What the fuck is she?
What are you afraid of?
What if it comes back?
It won't come back.
What if it does?
If it comes back, we kill it.
You serious?
Topping the charts of today's video, and probably the single most dumbest way for a zombie-like outbreak to even get started, or in this case, restarted, is the one that spurred from 28 Weeks Later. Don't get me wrong, 28 Weeks Later is an amazing, dark, and bloody film that I will always rewatch and enjoy, especially for its opening scene and the helicopter blender scene. But holy hell did everything leading up to the rage virus finding its way back into the minds and bodies of human hosts not make any sense whatsoever. All throughout 28 Days Later, we see the ravenous way that Great Britain was overrun, how fast and easily the infection can be spread via blood, saliva, any kind of bodily fluids that can turn a healthy host in a matter of seconds, and how infected starve themselves out due to their constant irrationally angry state without food and water. Great Britain, after thousands of people are drenched in an irreversible animosity and violent blood-soaked massacre, is seeing its population of infected die off. Without suitable hosts, the rage virus can be quelled. Great Britain is healing. So, what's the best course of action after less than 7 months since the first infection? What do the US military and former British citizens decide to do 28 weeks after the initial outbreak of the rage virus? Sure, there are still efforts still ongoing to burn any leftover bodies in the streets, as well as search and either rescue or destroy efforts ongoing throughout the greater Great Britain area. But suddenly a gigantic leap in judgment befalls the Yanks and the Brits. Somebody saw what had happened, how awful this rabies-like super spread was, how fast it spurred out of control just from a few animal rights terrorists going out into the streets after getting some monkey fluid in their body and destroying the Queen's land. And you know what the ultimate decision was to get things back to normal? Government officials and US military and top British people said this: "Oh, we realize that the greatest country in the world needed people, or else that it ain't a country, isn't it? Bruv, we've been in a bit of a sticky wicket, isn't it? We're quite knackered trying to wait for all this to blow over. Why not have a cup of tea with your mates? No need to ponder the bloody zombies, even though they're bloody on bloody day. No need to worry about it. Don't reckon yourself with rubbish like fear. It's all good. Turn on some Beatles." Don't worry, my British accent is flawless, and if you say otherwise, I have the 23andMe DNA results to show you right here. I'm like over 90% British, so I think I know a thing or two about my homeland. But yeah, they straight up said, let's go ahead and fly and bus in hundreds, thousands of British citizens to this condensed area barely kilometers away where cleansing efforts are still being made. They're still underway. Are you absolutely fucking daft? All this for the purpose of repopulating Britain, returning to normalcy, and whatever other examples were provided to put other viable meat suits in arm's reach of a viral. Why would you bring hundreds of people
civilians anywhere close to anything that remotely is still underway with cleaning efforts? Why are you having a soft opening to fucking Britain when you're not 100% sure that the infected are all dead or if it's even completely sanitized yet? A disease this contagious would have this place abandoned like Chernobyl, just with less radiation and more blood that turns you into a Karen at Black Friday trying to get $5 off her pressure cooker. And not only that, but freaking children are able to sneak out of the established safe zone despite dozens of armed officials standing guard above. And even then, we have Hawkeye and others watching them leave, and they're just like, kids will be kids. Ha ha. We got two bogies. Roll Tide. Yeehaw. I'm Captain Falcon. Hawkman. Yeehaw, America. You think it would be kill on sight if quarantine was broken in any kind of way. But then again, why have people in a quarantine here in the first place? Why fly them here? Only after do the kids find a scooter, go to multiple buildings, and have a jolly old time do they go to their old homestead and find their mother with bloodshot eyes and acting erratic. Do troops finally swoop in and scoop them all up? The mom is strapped in a heavily secure area to prod into how the rage virus isn't fully affecting her, noting she isn't necessarily immune, but retains her humanity despite the virus being inside her. High-ranking scientific and army officials want to make some kind of cure out of her genome or some shit, noting her ability to still be able to spread the rage virus as a carrier. They leave her be while deliberations are made about her. And from here is where the stupidity goes from level 9 to level over 9,000 of this entire operation. It elevates to heights thought improbable by mankind. Dawn, the man that abandoned her at the beginning, the man that was known to be the father of the two kids that just breached containment and risked infection to accidentally find their infected mother, who officials could easily connect the dots on him having probably a relationship with his wife or even just the mother of his children. The man they found and hired as a janitor has high-level clearance to access anywhere in this facility, including the room she is being held in. No legions of security around this genetic lottery ticket. No cameras peering over this harbinger of potential.
Let's be honest. If logic was implied in all these movies that we watch in today's society, then there would just be no movies. You feel me? Why not just eat this? What the fuck? Listen, then there would just be no movies in our world if there was actually logic implied into it. See what I'm saying?
Virile annihilation? Nothing? He just waltzes in like, "Oi, I'm Scottish and I'm here to clean the mess me bum of a wife did. Don't mind me just going in for a bit of a peek up the old girl kilt and maybe even a tug on her old bagpipes, eh?" I don't have a really good Scottish accent. I don't claim to have Scottish DNA. But he just strolls up to her. No armed guards anywhere. Has a heartfelt conversation and freaking kisses her? What kind of no-skill ass janitor would have clearance to a quarantine room with a woman like this? Wouldn't there be biohazard specialists for that kind of clearance instead of the guy that cleans up bird shit outside the building? And he kisses her. Ironic infection and symbolism of the kiss of death aside, Jesus, Mary, and Christ, this is the reason for this being number one on zombie apocalypses that shouldn't have happened. And I did say no particular order, but this one takes the cake. His singular kiss with his wife causing him to become infected, and from there being easily able to take down every single armed soldier he lays eyes on without issue is absolute insanity. I could maybe see him infecting 1, 2, or even 3 dudes, but after the count gets up there, any trained guy with a rifle would assess the situation and would gun this bloody bloke and his new infected chums down on the spot. You're telling me the infected Dawn took out multiple American soldiers with guns? You're telling me Americans forgot how to fire guns? What kind of universe is this? Apparently confronting ravenous civilians that are about to kill them has them saying some Marvel one-liner like, "This is above my pay grade. Hell, living is above my pay grade." They obviously know what the rage virus is and what it turns people into, but suddenly, oops, all zombies are infected. We skim over how all this happened because now we have to call everybody we hauled back into the jolly old England and make it even worse by having all of these healthy hosts clutter up in this cramped and claustrophobic ass room down flights of stairs to protect them, instead of telling them to just stay indoors and lock up, say there was a breach and not to make any noise or open their doors for anyone. Nah, we're just gonna have all available uninfected civilians in one place, so this infection that causes people to turn in seconds from just one drop of blood, spit, or cum can easily turn into a super spreader event. Yeah, because that'll go so damn well.
Hold on. I like how this nigga said, come on. Oops, all zombies.
Well, Don somehow, after infecting tons of military personnel, gets out scot-free and finds his way to the civilian containment area via the only other door to escape from. You mean they bothered to have this floor situated for all civilians to be safe, but don't bother to secure both points of entry, just one? What in the good God hell were the safety measures here? Why, if you brought all these people back to Great Britain, would you not have extremely tight-knit and concrete measures to resort to when, not if, but when shit hit the fan that you can fall back on? Because it's very apparent that this shit was going to happen. You put fuel on fire and then was surprised that a freaking explosion of flames happened. The only method they even have down is having Hawkeye and his merry band of snipers gunning down infected from the rooftops. The scene of them getting the order to indiscriminately kill all people at ground level due to not being able to discern who is infected or not is powerful. But sheesh, dude, that order should have been at the ready since they know what the rage virus is. This is not new information. You've had half a year. They then proceed to firebomb the shit out of Britain, but Don still survives because he's just hiding in an alley. They think the sun is immune and can be a key for a cure, and soon they see officials going around using flamethrowers to cleanse the city and any person they find. You didn't think to do this 28 weeks earlier? The bombings and hazmat pyromanes were reserved for when you actively knew the threat and threw more people into the biological bonfire? The movie ends with the horde fastly approaching Paris, somehow the infection of 28 weeks later being able to reach other countries, while 28 days later, the infection with no bombings or rushed military aid or nothing of that sort was kept within one country. Everything about 28 weeks later's outbreak is absolutely bonkers. I love the movie In and Out, but out of every zombie outbreak I can think of, nothing sticks out more to me than the sheer stupidity of bringing people back to a country that 28 weeks ago was brought to ruin by the worst virus the world has ever seen. And to add insult to injury with a dash of salt in the wound, the botched upkeep and response that took the simple kiss of an infected woman to ravaging armed military guards to spiraling a horde of people into hordes of the infected. It feels less realistic and more of, well, we need another outbreak and the infected die after a few weeks. So let's just cart in more people against all logical fucking sense.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, baby, yeah!
Shoot everything. Targets are now free.
Yep, shoot everything.
We've lost control.
I planned on covering more zombie outbreaks that made no sense for today's video, and yes, 28 weeks later is a zombie genre movie. Do not start with that shit today. If I have to explain that one more time, despite making full videos on the I'll come down on you like a rage virus monkey on a PETA member. But with other life stuff, I had to limit things to today's 4 scenarios. Is there more that really made no sense to you that you think should have been covered? If today's video gets any traction, who knows, maybe we can make a follow-up and do some more. Did you like what we discussed? Which of these 4 outbreaks do you think shouldn't have happened the most?
Let me know down in the comments. Big shout out to today's patrons, YouTube channel members, and big time donators for supporting the channel. And if you want to be featured on this breakout list of awesome people, you can do what they did. But all you really need to do to support the channel is just being thanked for watching this far and maybe even dropping a like. That's pretty cool if you could do that. Until next time, I'm Zackass, aka Wow Such Gaming. Stay happy, stay healthy, do not make dumb decisions that start a widespread pandemic, and stay wow.
Hey, y'all, hey. Okay. W fucking vid. Hope y'all niggas learn some shit about fucking zombies, how they is literally just not a threat to you feel me? Man fucking can. And shouldn't be a threat, but I guess people find these motherfuckers as threats, I guess. I don't fucking know. Oh man.